Welcome to Coinology The Podcast.
You ain't getting no money if you constantly worried about what everybody else got to say. If you constantly got your eyes on what everybody else doing, you ain't getting no money. When it comes down to closing a deal, I get it done. Every single one. I'm the certified deal closer.
Welcome to Coinology The Podcast. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Coinology Season 4. I'm so excited about today. Our guest is none other than Dr. Stacii Johnson.
Yes,
right?
Stacii Jae Johnson.
Stacii Jae Johnson.
Yes.
I've been knowing Stacii for quite a while, and I've seen the evolution of the brand, right? But one of the things you've always done is you've stayed true to love, right?
I've had to, girl. My story is deep, you know? And it's so crazy, Ebony, because the thing about my story is even sitting up here about to have this conversation with you, something hit me. And I said, wow, this is the first time I've really allowed my inner child to speak. You know, that little girl who's been through so many things. I've never really allowed myself to be vulnerable enough with it's not like I even tried not to, but there's things that happen that you just kind of keep moving. You know, my mother was a woman that kept moving no matter what. 5 husbands, she kept moving.
5 husbands. Wow. Do you think that love became the element of Stacii because Atlanta is lacking that? Do you see that?
No, because let me think. That's a good question. I would say no right off, but I think it's a combination of both because I did go to school here. I went to Spelman, you know, and a lot of my growing up, that girl from Memphis, Tennessee, I believe happened between Spelman and LA. I believe that, and my mom, I believe that it's a gumbo of those things, you know, that attribute me to being who I am right now. And that is the woman who fights for women. And I believe that, as crazy as it sounds, every time I look at a woman who says, I'm tired of love, I don't want it no more, I see my mom. Because my mom, before she died, she told me she was tired. She was going through her 5th divorce, and she was just tired. She was tired. My mama died at 56.
Ooh.
I'm 53.
So okay.
You see what I'm saying? I don't mean the point, but that's just a real, that's a big point for me.
Yeah.
56 and 5 husbands.
Do you think it was a broken heart?
Absolutely.
Okay, so before we go there, let's go all the way back to Memphis, Tennessee. Okay. Right?
Orange Mound.
Okay.
8-ball MJG. I always tell them, don't let the Spelman fool you, baby.
Don't let it, okay.
I can gangster walk right here.
All right. So were you the only child?
No, I have a brother, Christopher.
Okay.
Yeah. But
older, younger?
Younger. 16 years younger than me.
So you were raised as the only child?
Oh, yeah. Up until I was 16, yeah.
So was mom married to dad?
Mom married my father, and then 4 husbands later.
Okay, so he was husband number 1.
Yes.
Okay, and so husband number 1, she married your father.
They were in their 20s.
Do you remember your dad a lot?
Yeah, my dad and I are friends today, but my dad was, oh gosh, I never talked about this. I hope, will he see it? Well, he'll be okay with it. My dad was on drugs. My dad was on crack for he's 76 now. He was on crack for about 40 of those years.
Okay.
He's the healthiest ex-crack user I've ever seen in my life. Never ate pork, never did any of that.
Is that why mom divorced him?
Well, my father was a ladies' man. Okay. So my mom tells me the story about she was coming out of Walmart or Kmart or one of the marts. And my dad, she was coming in, she was pregnant with me, with a girlfriend of hers. And this Caucasian woman came out with this swimsuit coming over to my mom's car where my daddy was. Talking about, hey, we got to do this. You know, this is what I got to say. We was about to go out of town or something.
Oh, wow.
Yes, honey. And my mom is walking in pregnant with me with a friend of hers. Yeah, and it was about to go down. My mama, don't. She's a Taurus. Don't do that. Don't do that.
So mom didn't play. So after that, mom left immediately after that?
No, of course. Love. And then just a series of other events like that.
Okay.
And my dad just being a ladies' man. His name is JJ, stands for James Johnson. You know, he used to walk with a cane. You know what I'm saying?
He did his thing,
but he ain't have no limp though. That's the thing.
Okay. But mom moved on, right?
Yeah, she moved on to the next.
How long was she probably single in between that?
God, Ebony, I don't know for sure. But I would say after that is when we moved back to Memphis.
Okay.
So we were in LA. So we moved back to Memphis, and God, maybe 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years.
Possibly.
Okay.
I was so young. I don't
Now,
really.
in between that time, did you meet other guys that she didn't marry, or?
My mom was the type of woman, if she dated, you married, y'all married, y'all get married.
Okay.
Yeah, she was one of them. That's why she got married as many times. It's vague to me because I never saw my mother date, really. I just saw the husbands. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never saw the developing relationship, developing connection. You know, how does person one get together with person two and even decide they were going to get married? I just saw, oh, okay.
So when the divorces happened, was there any type of...
I saw that part.
The part of the divorce...
From her.
Yeah. And then also you having to separate yourself. So
Be the little girl in the middle.
The little girl in the middle, you've become attached.
Absolutely.
And then had to unattach. So
And
you had to go through that 5 times. 5 times.
And my brother's father, who I shot, is the one that was the most difficult.
So let's talk about that. You shot your brother's father. Has your brother ever been able to forgive you for that?
Oh, well, he's passed, honestly, now. Yeah, absolutely. But Christopher was so young.
So,
you know?
So what happened with that?
Okay. Oh, girl. I don't know. You know, I did another podcast where this came up. And it's crazy. I've never really talked about this. And every time I come in now, like, I was like, I know she's going to bring it up. You got to be prepared. Girl, why am I said you cannot get emotional? Why is that still affecting me? Someone even on a comment said she hasn't healed. And I thought I'd healed. But this is affecting me traumatically. So I'm going to get to the answer. I'm trying to keep the tears back. Well, I was in my room. You talking about the whole playback? Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
Well, let me ask you this. Prior to actually shooting your brother's father, did you have any animosity towards him?
No.
So this was totally unexpected.
No, I didn't have, no. I didn't have any animosity because I was so young. It was just, it's kind of a blur, but I was so young to where I did not judge him or my mom because for me, people argue. They love, they argue, right? That wasn't the first time my mother had gotten into an argument and a disagreement with someone she was married to. So it wasn't hearing screaming and MF and all of that. That just was not different for me. It happened with other husbands, but none of them had gotten to the point that this situation got to. And that day, I remember my mom told me the gun was in the nightstand because I was one of them latchkey kids. My mother worked 3 jobs, look, all them husbands, and she's still working it. That's a whole nother story. But anyway, so I knew where the gun was. And that day, remember back in the day, there was the glass closet. It had the glass sliding doors on the closets. And he pushed her into the closet. Glass broke. And I said, Mike, stop. I'm going to get and I gave warning. And then, of course, who knows that a 13-year-old is going to do anything like that. And I promise you, I got the gun. And I said, my mind said, shoot him in the heart, right? But then I promise you that was God. God said, no, shoot him in the leg. And I shot him literally in the leg. But everything in me. And I think it was more, and it's honestly, the more we talk about it, I'm having more epiphanies. I think I was initially aiming for the heart because I'd seen so many MFs and cussing each other out and all of the stuff before, that I think with that, that's the reason. It was him, but it was more, this is not right. How even my mother, as God is my witness, I love my mama, but as God is my witness, even her communication just was not the right way to talk to another human being.
Mm-hmm. Now, and that's interesting to say, because when you're raised in a certain environment, you don't know that, right?
Mm-hmm. No.
You don't know it. And your mom wasn't the only one who married 5 men. Your aunt did as well,
my
right?
My aunt married 5. My grandmother married 3.
Okay.
My dad's been married 3. Most of the women in my family
have had multiple.
Multiple. And I know the reason for that as well. My mother told me a story when I was a little girl. She said that my great-great-great, one of them great-great-greats, grandmother, she was Indian, and she had there was something that happened between her and her husband. And he did, and I don't know if this is true, girl. This is something my mama told me. He did a curse on all of the women in our family in the back of the yard, and said that none of us would die happy in love, married. None of us.
And you were told that at a very young age.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we fast forward, Stacii, because now you're about to get married in August, right?
Yes.
But before the marriage, there's been years of being single. You're not like mom. You're not like auntie. Mm-mm. You've never been married.
Never.
Right?
And that's not that's purposeful.
Right. It's purposeful.
Yeah.
And also from a perspective of you being a coach for love, right? Mm-hmm. You're also one of the hosts on OWN's Put a Ring on It.
Yeah.
So many people may say, okay, you're hosting a show
called Put a Ring
on It.
Right.
But you avoided having a ring put on you.
Absolutely.
Right? Did you ever have any imposter syndrome? Did you ever feel?
Yes.
Okay.
Girl, are you kidding me? Imposter with the internet? They gonna call it out even if you don't feel it, Absolutely, because I was doing something that I had never, and I was telling women how to date, how to date.
And for those who don't know, her name was Just Date Girl.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so her whole platform, if you don't know, Stacii's whole platform was telling women that they needed to date, and not only date one person, but date multiple people. It's important and healthy to have multiple partners to date.
Yeah. Not intimate,
but at least dating multiple people.
Absolutely.
So we understand that in the 20s. We understand that in your 30s, right? But then when you start getting close to 35, 36, did you ever feel the need to change that lingo, or did you feel even stronger in your 40s?
I felt stronger because my mother would again date and get married. You got to remember the little girl. She would date and get married. No dating in between. Most of the men she dated, she married. So I was like, that didn't work. That didn't work, and neither does married for love. You know how people go married for love? No, that don't work either.
So do you still believe that marrying for love does not work?
It can't just be that. My grandmother married for money, her 3 times. That didn't work either.
So what do you think, as a relationship expert, women need to be looking at?
Character.
Character.
I go for high value, high character. That's what I teach. The value, I done met a lot of, most of the men I've dated have money. Right? So, okay, let's just put it on out there, right? But some of them, no. I would marry girl, you crazy? Because there is no character there. So this thing with high value, no, high value, high character. The character of the person is most important for me. And if you're marrying only for money, that's like my grandmother. She's 93 years old, dying alone. And she married, got a new Cadillac every 2 years. Got rings, and Memphis, we wear diamond rings on every finger. My grandmother right now got diamond rings, big ones, on every finger from gifts.
Happy?
No.
She's not.
No.
Do you believe you have to be married to be happy?
No, but I do believe this. I do believe that women add something very special to a man's life. And because you got to remember, everybody walking comes through us. Everybody. Just imagine the emotional intelligence that sometimes we don't see on social media. I got to say that, but that's a whole nother thing. Of women, when we really dial into our power, right? We give birth to nations, period. Period.
That's right.
Period. Just think about everybody walking.
Had to come from a woman.
Had to come from a woman. So the intelligence for God to give us that power to us, come on, we change a man's life, whole life. But I do believe that we need him as well. But I don't believe we have to have him.
Now, is this the first time you've been engaged?
Oh, I said no to everybody else. I had men ask me to marry him. I had an argument, and 2 weeks later, you asking me, what is that?
What does that mean? Yeah. So so let's go back to being young in Spelman. I'm sure in Atlanta, all the, because you've worked for the mayor's office.
Absolutely.
Right?
I was the entertainment and special events director. I was an actress in Hollywood.
I have
done it all.
V103.
V103.
Now you
on-air personality.
On-air personality. Also now as an on-air personality for OWN.
Yeah.
So you've had multiple lives and probably met multiple. So when you've met these men, did you go into these relationships, Stacii, knowing I'm not going to marry them? I'm just here.
No. I ain't gonna never tell a lie. I've dated some really great men, right? But after I look back now, I wasn't ready. I wasn't. Again, my grandmother, I can't say, can I cuss? Oh, girl, my grandmother says, you low down piece of shit motherfucker. And she would look at every... That's where I came from. Seeing that, do you think
Did that ever come out of your mouth?
Absolutely. I wasn't good for... I was a toxic woman. Are you kidding me? Girl, did you see? And it's still... You see how that came through my mouth? It could still come out, girl. But I've done work on myself.
But Stacii, you got to ask yourself, so what was it? What was that moment when you said, wait a minute. Wait a minute. This is not how I want my life to end.
I would say a lot of it. I don't really know the moment. I would say maybe it was possibly when my mom died in my arms and we had that conversation about relationships. I would say, I think it would be a couple of times. I think that thought has run through my mind that I wasn't ready, that I was toxic a couple of times. It wasn't as young as 13. I was really there to help my mom with that. I was really there. Whoa, you just pushed my mom into a whole sliding glass closet. There is no way you are going to, first, live. Okay, thank God. He whispered in my ear and said, aim somewhere else. After that, 16, I remember, and this is a story I never told. I remember there was an ex-boyfriend of mine, Stephen Donardo Day. I still remember. He was my first, I would say my second love. And he was my high school sweetheart. And I remember we were at the Mall of Memphis. And baby, I don't know if it was, I think it was his car. We got into a situation that at my age now, I look back at it and say, girl, what were you doing? Like, why were you? But that was my mama. That was my mama, my grandmother. That was all of the anger, being 13, while my mother's sitting at the table crying, and this man contemplating if he's going to press charges because I was protecting her, right? So it was a lot of anger in me. It was a lot of confusion because nobody still told me how to have a relationship. And now I'm in one with this guy who I'm supposed to love, who I did. Stephen was absolutely. But I still didn't know how to make any of that work in a healthy way. Literally, I remember we was cussing, fussing. I was a horrible woman.
So do you consider yourself an alpha female?
What is that really? Tell me what that is.
I think it's a take charge, very strong leader. Some people would say masculine traits. They lead.
I would say in my business, absolutely. But with my man, I have grown out of that. I've grown out of that. I've grown, and I've worked on growing out of that. I had to honestly remember, and somebody just posted, everything I don't have to say, girl, shut up. And
I think that comes with age and wisdom.
Yeah, shut up. And honestly, I have to say it's not something that comes easy. Thank God I do what I do because I can internally coach myself. I could be like, come on, girl, that's not. Why you trying to talk about that?
So why did you choose relationships? So you know that throughout life, love has been a challenge. Why did you decide to be the dating coach? And you actually were helping people get married.
Yes.
But you had not walked down the aisle yourself.
Yeah, I still am. I'm still that. Not only that, I went back 2 years ago and got my master's in marriage and family therapy. That's how committed I am to this. So why this? I do know that there was a situation that happened after my situation when I worked for Kasim. And I had a reality check. I said, girl, most of the stuff you do good. And you always reach those levels that people want to, but sometimes they can't. Why is that? Why? I was going through another life change, right? You know, how I was the actress and then I was this. So I said, and then my mind said, I want to do something that I'm committed to, that I'm not going to, no matter the matter. It is my purpose. It is my passion. It's what God put me on this earth to do. And I remember, I said, what connects to your heart? And it was honestly a conversation my mom and I had before she died. And we had never talked about her marriages. And she told me more than anything, she wanted to show my brother and I that love works. And I was like, how in the heck were you going to do that? And I remembered that conversation, and I'm a big meditation person, and I started meditating. Yeah, it saved my life. It really did. So I remembered that conversation, and there was something, Ebony, that happened in me. And I said, that is why I'm here. That is why I'm here. I'm not here to do anything but to help myself and then through that, help other women create, cultivate, and keep healthy romantic relationships. And then I started, because once you ask yourself a question and you come up with an answer, if you're really a person that's seeking your truth, there comes another question. So then I said, well, how do I feel I can do that? And I don't even know. I was mid-30s then. I don't even know how to, I don't know. And then my mind said, you got to go on a journey. The only way you can create something is to become what you're trying to create. And I had to ask myself, what is my problem? What did I see as a child? So I went through a whole bunch of therapy with that. And then I decided that I needed to be I needed to be first, right? So that's when Date Girl came out, date multiple people. Because I realized I would meet a guy, remember, just like my mom, she would meet and she'd be married. I was purposely not going to do that. But I would meet, and girl, I am your girlfriend. I don't care what you say, baby. Baby, can I tell you? I'm looking at you like, oh, that's going to be my man. Everybody. Like literally. He had to deliver a couple of things.
Now, would he know that he wasn't the only one?
No. This is initially. Remember, this is me figuring out what I would do, what my thing was.
Okay.
And I would meet a guy, I would go out, and I would make them my boyfriend. And I would cook, all of the things, okay? I would do, I'm just saying, all of the things. This is before I was dating multiple, right?
Okay.
But I realized I would have boyfriend after boyfriend after boyfriend, and I would be the same. I would meet, attach, which now I know is an anxious attachment. I would meet after 3 or 4 dates. I'm your girlfriend. I would stay in that relationship until it did something traumatic, right? Just not, it didn't work. I'm not good for him. It would literally, because remember, it would have to be
a traumatic end.
And that would stop. I would go through 6 to 8 months of healing, and then I would do the same thing over again. By the time I was 35, I realized I'd only had 5 relationships because I would stay in them until something had to happen horrible. Because again, my mama, it always had to be horrible. She never chose, you know what we want in life, just it doesn't align. Our values.
You know what, Stacii? I wonder how many people actually just walk away from relationships now just because
values don't align.
Right, because I think so many people, especially women right now, we want to be honest, are so afraid of going back out there again, right? Because you hear from everybody, it's the mess out there, the dating scene has
it's pee in it.
It's this, that, and the other. And so many people stay in unhappy or loveless relationships just to be able to say, well, it's not anything better out there, right? Yeah. I don't know that, do you know that many people just say, well, it's not working, and they walk out? Or is it usually traumatic?
But you should look at somebody and say, our values don't align.
But let me ask you this.
What?
Is it true that people can have values that align and then in 8 to 10 years they don't, and then in 20 years they do again? And then, because think about how many people divorced and then look back 15 years later and say, you know what, I should have never left that man. I should have put up with X, Y, and Z. You know, I'm sure you hear a lot of that.
Yeah, but that's because they've grown. I believe that, honestly, if your values right now don't align, then where are we starting from? You know what I'm saying?
But you have to, in a relationship, there's going to be peaks and valleys. You're going to grow together, you're going to grow apart, and you have to determine if it's worth fighting to try to meet back at the intersection again, because you're not the same person that you were at 25 years old.
But my character still hasn't changed.
So, but you used to be this toxic woman who was cussing him out. That's not you.
No.
So when you said your character, I would say your character has changed.
No. I'm still committed. I was a committed woman then.
But you were toxic committed.
No, right. No. But my execution of that, because of all I'd seen, was not there. But the character of me is still the same. Like,
but I wonder though, Stacii, if it's the guy you dated at 25, if he met you today, if he would agree with that. Because he would say that your new fiance has a different version.
Yes, but if you look at the word committed, she's still committed. I agree with you, but I'm still the committed Stacii. Now, my execution of how I am committed, meaning in my anxious attachment, that might be different. Because
that's important.
No, but I'm more secure attachment. But my character is still, I'm a committed woman. I'm a caring woman. But I was anxious and caring because I didn't know who I was. I wasn't confident in myself. You see what I'm saying? So there were some things that I didn't have, but the core of me, my character, I'm committed, I'm caring. Those things are still there. But I believe that because I've grown, how that presents itself in life today is different. Right. Now, would he say my fiance is getting a better version of me? Absolutely. Absolutely. But caring, committed, loving, all of those things are still the same.
If the 25-year-old probably wouldn't even recognize the Stacii for today. I think for most men, no matter
the 25-year-old guy.
Okay. If he were to date you today, he would probably think you're a totally different person, because you could be committed. You could be all the things you just said about your character. But if the execution of that is toxic, he can't even get to that, the good part.
Yes.
Right?
No. I agree with that. I agree with that. But I could probably say, unless he has changed, we wouldn't match anyway. Because I do believe that likes attract like. I do believe that, and likes accept like. Well, in the best way. I believe that if he was the same, my spirit would not even be in alignment with who he was. There would have to be some growth in him as well to even recognize the goodness in me. You see what I'm saying? Because people can get together all day, every day. But if you're choosing people who are toxic continuously, then there's something in you that is toxic. And I would like to believe that if he hasn't changed, then it wouldn't be a match.
Well, let me ask you this. For women who are alpha women, right? Do you feel that the reason why they struggle in finding a mate is because they're looking for themselves in someone else? Because one of the things you mentioned earlier is that if a man doesn't have a certain amount of money, you know, he's not probably going to be a contender. Right?
Well, no. I said I'm not going to. I don't.
You typically date.
Yeah, the men that I have dated have been very successful guys. Absolutely.
So if a guy, so let's go back to that. If a guy came to you and he was not, what's very successful to you?
Okay, I could say, and I've dated teachers. I've dated police officers. I've dated, teachers, police officers, politicians, doctors, lawyers. Yeah, I've dated. If you would call a girlfriend of mine, Chantel, right now, you say, so what's her type? Right now in my life, she would say, oh, she looks at character. character. Because again, my mother married for love, my grandmother married for money. So I don't believe just the money thing works. Remember? Because both of them, well, my grandmother is still alive, but dying, they both are dying or have died alone. So it's not just you got to have money.
I believe too in relationships, to make relationships, where I've been married for 25 years, in September will be 26. I think that for positive relationships to exist, you have to have more than love.
Absolutely.
And you have to have more than finances. And it has to be, like you said before, a commitment to something. You and that person have to have that something that's there that we're saying that is bigger than anything else. And it can't be just the kids. Because so many people make that thing the kids, and then once the kids graduate, that's why you see so many marriages then say, peace, I'm out.
Yeah.
Because that thing is this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It has to be something that's there in order for it to last, because it is very easy. I think it would be unrealistic, Stacii, for you to meet people that will say, I've been married for 25 years and say they've never considered saying peace.
Peace, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's one or two things that has happened in that. If you think everything has been jolly, you're probably not living in reality, and your spouse is probably miserable because they're living in a farce. I think that it's important for people to know what that is and have an agreement that this is what makes us what we are. If you think about marriages in other countries, some of these countries don't even mention anything about love. Love is not even a contender.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It goes back, then what makes it work? Because I have done some research on the arranged marriages.
Okay.
So what do you think makes that work then?
I think what makes it work is the understanding of the family. So these countries, they have a family dynamic, very similar to, did you watch The Crown? So the royal family, in a sense. The mission is greater than you. And so in this case, our mission is not just about the two of us. It's also about the greater good of whatever that thing is. So I think in their situation, it's the family dynamics, it's the family name, and that is important to them. So if you never knew anything about love, and love was never the reason why people got married in the first place, you didn't know you were missing out. Most people who rebel against that are the ones who creep out there and start trying to fall in love with somebody. But if they've never really had the chance to go on dates that were unchaperoned, they met people who were coming from the same family background, and their goal was to connect, have children, and carry on the dynasty.
Yeah. I believe that there's this thing called romanticism. And romanticism is what I believe has killed real people getting married.
I do too.
We want chemistry. We want to feel something. You know, we want to always be attracted and to our significant other. We want them to always make the decisions that we would make. We want all of these things just to be perfect, wrapped up in a pretty little box. And I believe that the practicality of love, of relationship, wins more, and love lasts, or connection lasts longer, because of the practicalities of love. That's where I go back to character, values. And yeah, of course, I might change over time, but if I am aligned with the right person, then hopefully he is as well.
And you respect him, and you respect him. And you can think about this. There's plenty of people, Stacii, that love their husband or love their wife down, and they still have 2 or 3 other people. It doesn't mean that because they have a side chick or side dude that they don't really love their wives.
Yeah, right. Or
but there's no commitment there to say, and that's the piece. Having that commitment is the part that I think most people are really missing the mark on, right?
What do you mean when you say commitment?
So I think whatever it is that you're committing to. So if you're saying, because some people are married and they don't have a problem with their spouse having multiple people. Some people, I'm sure you probably coached people who are open to having open relationships. You know, I had a girlfriend. Let me ask you this, because you are that date girl and a counselor, and also a coach. So I had a girlfriend who called me. She's dating a guy. She's been dating this guy, Stacii, probably now about 10 years, right? But this guy has been married for about 25 years, right? And in these 25 years, Stacii, they have had an open relationship, right? He won't leave. She won't leave. But now he's dating my girlfriend.
For the last 10 years, not even just now. Yeah.
Right. And
is he exclusively dating her and his wife? Or
if he's not, like I told her, if he's not exclusive with his wife, I hope you don't think he's exclusive with you. Yeah. I don't think it's in him to be exclusive.
But have they had that conversation?
Well, they've had the conversation. However, I don't believe that he's being honest.
Okay.
I don't believe it.
Okay.
And so what I told her, she said, do you think he can change? Do you think he will be that man for me? And I said, he hasn't been that man for
Wait, I'm so confused, but he has a wife for 25 years.
Correct. But they live in an open relationship.
Got it. But what is the man for her that she's looking for? I think she got him. She
said that he's her man. He's her soul. But this is the thing I said to her. I don't think when you say that this is your guy and there's a commitment, evidently he has a commitment with his wife.
That's who he's committed to.
And it just is different from you and I. You and I, our commitment with our others, we don't allow for that, right? Now, whether they do it or not, we can't say what somebody... But we know it's not allowable in our relationship. Yeah. But in their relationship, it's allowable. Yeah. And it works, obviously, for them because it's been 25 years. Yes. Right?
And what is she looking for, though?
She wants a monogamous, traditional relationship like the one...
With that man?
With him. And she's asking me, because I've known him for a very long time, do I think... And I said, listen, sis,
girl, run. If that's what you want.
It's not going to happen.
No.
It's not going to happen.
And she thinks that it might.
How many women do you know, Stacii, who really think that for them, he will change? Now, I want you to really sit back and think about how many women you know.
I'm going to take a drink of this Patron.
Yeah, right, they think that they're so different. They're doing acrobats. They're this, that, and the other. And for me, Young Miami, I'm sure she probably thought her situation was going to be different than Cassie's and different than Kim's and different than Gina's and different than... And that's what women think. They think that their situation is different.
Yeah, but I think, yes, that's two different things, though. This woman is with a whole man that has an open relationship with a woman for 10 years and a whole wife. That's whole. Yeah, if she thinking that, then she needs to seek therapy. I'm just saying, like, come on, like.
So if she was your client,
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that because I'm professional,
right? But what advice would you give her? I'm sure she's going to be tuning in.
Oh wow!
Me. I'm like, I'm not that date girl, so I'm just telling you, girl, it ain't gonna happen. But what would you say to her?
Oh wow, I would probably, Ebony. Girl, first of all, when she's talking, I would probably just be praying for her. That's the first thing. If she thinks that he's going to change. But what I would probably tell her is to believe the man that he was before she met him. Because that is when people are their most authentic.
That's who he is.
So exactly. So if you're thinking that you are going to insert yourself into anything and he has no evidence of being who you are wanting him to be right now in his life, in his trajectory of dating and relationship, then what about you do you think is going to change that? Period.
I told her, I said, you're basically going to take the place of his wife. So what will happen is that...
is the wife going to die or something?
Well, no, meaning that she's hoping that he will say, you are the woman for me.
And he's going to leave his whole wife.
He's going to leave his wife. And then she'll take the place of the wife. And I told her, guess what? And someone's going to take your place. This guy is never going to, and when I say, Stacii, this is a very accomplished, strong, alpha, entrepreneur woman. And what I find in so many women who have it all together in every other element of their life, they struggle with understanding their worth in relationships.
I think because it usually with women who are very successful, because they have been very successful in business and making money and what do they say, bossing up, they feel like they can do the same thing in their relationships. When really the first problem is they have to realize that, and this is now teacher Stacii, you calling out, is that men and women have masculine and feminine energy. And a man does not even, you can't even penetrate his soul, his connection by being masculine. So even the wanting and desire and the control that she feels that she can have over him because of who she is not even connecting to him in a way that will make a man want to even lean in and be inspired to love you the way that you want to be loved.
That's big.
That is not going to be, that's not even a turn on to him right now.
So is that the reason why I remember being young? I remember being in my early 30s and some of my girlfriends I used to work with when I was in corporate America. They used to always brag about the fact, I have my own home, I have my own car, I have my own this, and I have my own that. And now you're looking up and they're still alone. And is that the reason why most men are turned off by that? Are you saying that most men would prefer a woman who actually need them?
This is the thing. I don't care what level you get to. If you are a woman who understands connecting and how to connect to a man, there's a lot to need from a man, no matter how much money you have, no matter. But we, because of the culture that we live in, we give so much credence to your money, your bank account, your car, that we forget that really real connection, every man has a heart. Every man, he is a hunter. He likes to hunt, right? He likes it. Your money is not what he's hunting, really. He's hunting real connection. Can he trust you? Can he really trust you? Can he be vulnerable with you? I remember the first time my fiance leaned in and he cried with me. That's connection. That is, you see what I'm saying? This man is 6'3", 280 pounds. You met him.
I met him.
Right?
Yeah,
he felt safe enough with me to lean in to the woman that I showed him I was. Keyword, showed him I was, not because of who he was, but how he sees how I lean in and I'm caring for others. You see what I'm saying? And how I don't judge. The thing with women who, like your friend, who's this alpha woman who she has not understood or learned men enough to know that, baby, he likes all this, but really, he wants to feel safe. He wants to feel like he can trust you. He wants to feel like, honestly, you do regard him as more than just somebody that's paying bills. Although you can pay bigger ones, right? So I think that for me, I think that is, when you talk about my business part of Stacii, I think that for me is the number one downfall for most women that I talk to.
Do you find that primarily for Black women?
Well, most of my clients are Black. So, so I can't really say other clientele. Most of my clients are Black women or Black men, and I do have some Caucasian men who are dating Black
what I'm
women.
hearing, a couple of things I think key points to bring out. One is that romanticizing, right? So, and I think the way that people do that today is they watch too much Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
They see goals, couples goals, goals, and then they try to size themselves up. And then when he doesn't come home, when she doesn't come home from her birthday trip with petals all over the floor and blah, 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 she feels like he's inadequate, right? So that's number one. And then number two, it sounds like to me that we put too much emphasis into the materials.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Too much focus on it.
Yeah, and not the person.
But let me say this, though. Remember our grandmas and aunts and them said, but love ain't going to pay the bills, sis.
Yeah, but no one said that this man is not bringing anything to the table.
Okay.
Yeah, I am definitely not, honey. A man with no vision is, baby.
You got to have something.
You got to have something going.
Something going.
Right. So if he has no vision, then he needs to grow. He has some internal things that he needs to grow within himself. But a man with vision, I don't care. Again, I dated a police officer now. I dated a teacher. I dated a principal. And I still didn't marry him. I dated a politician, a couple of them. I dated, I'm just saying. I dated directors, football players, and didn't marry them. I married the 6'3". I'm marrying the 6'3", 280-pound tax guy.
But he makes you happy.
We enhance each other's happiness. And because he's met me at a point in my life where I have, over the course of the years, put high value and character together, you have to have both, then... And let me say this, I'm digressing because I know we don't have a lot of time. I do teach this thing called Be the Love You Want to Attract.
Okay.
And I started a self-study. So I realized, remember I told you I would cuss people out, I would just be about it. I was a toxic woman. But then I realized the things that I wanted my man to be, when I wrote a character list, I was none of them. When I tell you, I would look at my list back in the day and I'm like, okay, so you
that's most women today,
you want them to do what? And you cussing folks out, calling them low down piece of shit motherfuckers, all of that, like and what? But you want them to be caring and loving and all of this. And although you're caring and loving and committed, how is that showing up in a way that can really create healthy romantic relationships?
Okay, you said something there.
What?
You said even though you were caring and loving and committed, but were you caring, loving, and committed if you were calling him a broke down?
We can only be where we've come from.
Right.
Because that was for me, my mama, caring, loving, and committed. My mama, just because she had 5 husbands and my grandmother had 3, don't mean that they weren't caring, loving, and committed. But they were a product of everything that I came from. So from where I sat in my understanding of myself, I was still caring, loving, and committed. I'm going to fight for that, period. But the way that it showed up, because of the toxicity from my caregivers, the culture I was raised in, what I saw in my neighborhood. Remember, when we're born, we come out like this. We don't know shit.
That's right.
Okay?
Right.
So for me, my caring, loving, and committed from here to cussing somebody out, I was still that. But this is the thing. What changed my life was when, in my study, I would look at this list of everything that I want this man to be, and I was zero of it.
And so
how can you get somebody?
But also
in
want this list.
What?
I talked to my girlfriends about this list. I know they say you need to write things down to manifest it, right? Because like I told you before, I'm a huge manifester.
Yes.
But I think that this list that some of these women have has been the reason why they're still looking through a list and waiting. And some people will say, well, it's fine. I'd rather wait than settle. Is it considered settling?
I say the list of character traits. Right? And that holds me accountable. Because remember, you see how easy I said low down piece of shit mother. It's still loud. But I hold myself accountable to what my character traits list is, because for me, I know I have to be it first. How is somebody who's caring in the right way, in a healthy way, going to be attracted to somebody who want to cuss them out all the time, who judges them, who if they are having a bad day, what the fuck wrong with you? Ooh, see?
It's still there, Stacii.
Girl, you see that? No, but at least you know I'm not. Right. I will always be more of that little girl that was raised in Memphis, Tennessee, that saw her mom go through 5 husbands, her grandmother go through 3 husbands, and was told nobody in your lineage will ever have healthy that person will still live in me. So you see what I'm saying? So
what about that curse in the backyard?
What? That's what I'm saying.
I know, but my question is,
okay.
So do you think that you're purposely breaking that
Absolutely.
curse in the backyard?
Absolutely. That's why I fight for women so hard. That is why, like, literally, every woman I look at is my mama and me. And me.
So why did mama die alone?
My mother went through her last divorce with a man who, right now, Ebony, I carry my mother's fur coats that he slashed up. They have been under my bed in various cities that I travel since 2005. My mother had mink coat, had a black diamond, a fox fur. They are still. Why do I have those? Why do I have those?
Because of your mom's, or because you?
Because I'm still, I believe, fighting to prove that we can make it work.
So did your mom die from abuse?
My mother was abused multiple times by her. No, she died of colon cancer. Okay. But my mother died. She was in an abusive relationship. Mm-hmm. Every relationship, my mother... Hold on, let me say. I don't know about my dad because I was so young, because I don't want to... My dad is alive, so I don't want to say every man. Okay. But multiple husbands. Yeah, my mother. And I know that now more than ever because I have her journal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you started off and you said that you believe your mom died from a broken heart.
I know she did. She told me. She said she was tired. She was tired. Mm-hmm. She was tired. Remember, she was the little girl that her mom got married 3 times. Mm-hmm. So she was still fighting to teach my brother and I something else. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying?
So Stacii, how do you know life is going to be different for you?
Because I'm different. I'm holding myself accountable. I'm looking at myself every day. I just admitted publicly that girl that can cuss a motherfucker out is there. Mm-hmm. Period. Mm-hmm. She is from Orange Mountain. Like, literally, she is there.
So you have to fight.
But I fight her not every day. Mm-hmm. But when she shows up and she wants to come out and play, I tell her to settle the down. Mm-hmm. We are not doing that. We are just not. And I have to fight for her. And I tell the ladies I coach, I be like, girl, just because I teach this don't mean that I'm just this perfect no. Mm-hmm. I'm 53 years old right now, but I was for many years that girl who would just, my mouth was reckless. Now I wouldn't fight because if you hit me, I'm gonna kill you.
Mm-hmm. So do you think being a coach,
and I would tell every man
that, and he knows because I saw it, and when you just said it permeated.
Yeah.
But do you think being a coach in an area in which you are struggling in every day makes you a better coach?
I don't know. That's left up for my clients to tell. Mm-hmm. I know I care for women. Mm-hmm. I know I care. I know I rock with healthy romantic relationships. I can say that me doing what I do feeds my relationship every day. It helps us have a better relationship because I hold myself accountable to the things that I teach. I can say that I'm very transparent with the women in my inner circle, in my IWAGMU, or It's My Season, My Turn for Love, or my retreats that I do. I'm very transparent. Like, I don't sugarcoat it because I want people to know that, look, when you're going through something today, don't look at me like I didn't go through it last week. Shit. Don't look, I am a woman. I am a human being, and I am flawed. I am heavily flawed.
Sorry about that. I think that's the piece that makes people probably connect so much with you. Is the humanization. I think so many of these coaches and counselors and therapists, they want to act as if they have the answers to it all, and that they've never struggled in that space. But I had a epiphany though when you just spoke just now, because I used to always say, well, how can someone coach someone in a certain area and they haven't gone through it themselves? But technically, you have gone through it, but not necessarily through the actual marriage yourself. You're going through that in the next month, but you've gone through it from the eyes of your mother, from the eyes of your aunt, and from the eyes of your grandmother.
Yeah. And that's how we become who we are. You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
And you think about it, and I know we're wrapping, but this says a lot, though, for African-American women, because so many people always say that Black women are too hard, we're too masculine, we're too forceful, we're too this, we're too that, without really understanding the background of a Black woman. But we as Black women have to also stop using it as an excuse.
Yes.
And we have to start to say, we recognize this is a trauma that we've experienced, but our men don't deserve this, and this is why our men are leaving.
Men, let me tell you, I believe that there is a man right now on his mama's couch doing nothing, but he knows he needs to be a protector and a provider. But he's still on his mama's couch.
But he can stay on his mama's couch, though.
No, but I'm saying, no, yeah, he can.
Over there on that couch.
But I'm just saying, he knows, he's clear with who he is, what he brings to the table. Women because we do birth nations and we have managed to do most things that men can do. Like we playing football, we playing basketball, we on the skyscrapers, we're doing the construction. We are doing everything, right? Again, I believe because we do birth nations. There's a part of when we give birth to a football player, there's a football player in us because you see what I'm saying? Our roles, we are confused as women. We are confused. We don't know every time. Well, who are you? Well, I'm the president of this. I went to this university. I have my master's and my doctorate in X, Y. Who are you? I asked you, who are you, lady? Because none of that answered my question.
As to who you are.
Right. And what do you bring to a relationship? Well, I don't want to pay any of the bills, but my income says that I can definitely go half and half with my significant other. I can do X, we can do, but who are you and what do you bring to a relationship? Who are you? A man is clear. He might not be doing it. I'm a protector and a provider. He might be laying his lazy ass on his couch right now or his mama's couch, right? Excuse me. I'm just saying. But us, who are you? You are not all of those things. You are not, especially in your relationship, because a man, all of the men are intimidated by successful women. No, you just only bring your success.
That's it.
If you bring more, there's more for him to latch on to and say, wow, no, she's more than that. But you are only bringing that. You're leading with all of those things. But who are you? And that's what I believe if women start to pull back the layers of that, right, then they will get out of men are intimidated by them. Men are, they only want them because they can do this because, they're so successful. No.
But, Stacii, I think a lot of that, too, comes from if we were to allow Black women in particular, I'm not speaking about other races because we're just talking about Black women, to pull back the layers. That's when they'll find the pain, the hurt, the disappointment, the fear.
Yeah.
And that's why so many of us struggle with imposter syndrome. You can't, I know you were able to say that you can be alpha in business and then be beta at home. But for so many people, they can't turn it off.
Yeah. But I believe that's where the strength of us is in forming connection with men, is being able, let me say this.
Okay.
This just hit my soul. You at work, not you, but somebody who worked for somebody, because you EPI, you don't work for nobody, but, okay, sis, I get you, right? But your boss, you working at some company, and your boss comes in, Ebony, we found that you have been doing X, Y, and Z. You haven't been managing people properly. You've been showing up late. You have done whatever, right? We're going to need you to make the adjustments or you lose your job, right? Oh, baby, you know how fast a Black woman gonna change all that?
Well, you mean Black woman Gen X.
Yeah.
Now, Gen Z, they gonna go out there and drive an Uber.
Yeah, well, yeah, no. But right. I'm saying this woman is a career woman, corporate woman, right? As quick as he leaves, everything in her is going to start putting processes in place to change that because she is not going to lose her livelihood in business. I come to her, right? First of all, I say, girl, you need a coach. I can help you through all that. Oh, I'm not just about to be changing for nobody. Okay, well, I mean, if your boss came in, you would, because that's your money connected to that. You're going to make that change. But why can't you, I'm not even telling you to change. I just want to drop some gems in your life to give you another perspective to why you possibly might continue to end up in these situations when the only common denominator is you, right? But because your money isn't attached to it, you want to make it I'm not willing to do that.
Well, Stacii, and I'll say this. I think the most damaging period for African-American women was probably in the 70s when that whole mantra that probably passed on down to all of us and everybody else was, I don't need a man. You can do this on your own. fist in the air. And so now women today are realizing that was what they were taught. It was also toxic and wrong. And so they're trying to reverse that. And I think that's some of the things that you're seeing is she's saying, listen, I need my income to live. I don't need a man to live. But then you get to a point where you're saying, okay, my last days, what are they going to look like?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a lot sweeter as too.
It's a lot. You know, we talk about this, I was talking about aging. And I was talking with a very good friend of mine, and I was saying, so what's your biggest fear about aging? And she told me her biggest fear about aging, because she's not married, is dying alone. And I said to her, technically, sis, we all are going to die alone. When you cross that final barrier, you can't take nobody with you. Yeah. It's just going to be you having to go on that journey by yourself. But what she said to me, though, Stacii, was, but up until that moment when I cross over, I want to have somebody to love me, hold my hand, and be there at my last breath.
But what is she willing to become the woman that can do that?
That's the question. And I think that is the piece that we are all probably still working to figure that out. But when she told me that, because I thought when she said, getting older, concern was, getting sick or appearance, but she said dying alone.
Wow. You dropped the gem. I never heard of it from that perspective. Like we all do.
We all
die
do.
alone.
We all do.
But I have to go back to, why is it that we make so many concessions? We do so much changing in areas that are not matters of the heart. We all on terzepatide, semaglutide. We're going to go to the gym. We're going to do all that changing. But the one thing that when we go to bed at night as women and we look over to the side that's empty, and then we might not cry when we get up, but what's that last thing you tell yourself before you go to bed, sis? When you look over at that empty part of your bed, right? What is that? Because at the truth of you, because I have been her, and a lot of us are not okay with saying that, but I've been her, even as a coach, and said, wow, God, when am I going to become the woman? Because the power is in me, become the woman to deserve for you to bless me with the right one. That is where the power is, the right one. When am I, but look at my language. When am I going to become enough of a woman to be blessed with that right person to take this part of my bed? I'm not looking at anything negative. I'm not looking at what men ain't doing. I'm not even looking at my past or any of it. I'm looking at who do I need to become? Where is the work on me? And the problem is we in the gym, we on terzepatide, we getting these jobs, we getting these careers, we getting these education, all of these degrees. I get it. But we're not literally empowering ourselves in relationships to say, who do I need to become? And then what is the route to that? Just like you went to college. I just graduated with a master's in marriage and family therapy. They gave me a whole curriculum. I had to finish certain stuff before I got that master's, right? I had to finish certain stuff before I was even valedictorian, right? Which I was, thank y'all.
Okay, now.
Okay, I'm just saying, But there was a curriculum that I had to pass. When we are relating and dating, what's the curriculum that nobody is giving it to us, but we have to give it to ourselves. And now I believe that is what my mother gave me. My mother, through my mother's eyes, through my grandmother's eyes, through my auntie's eyes, I looked at the curriculum and I said, that needs improvement.
Okay.
And what I have done over the course of the last almost 20 years now is manage to create a curriculum that works. Is it easy? No.
So yours is life work.
Mine is life work. All my man talk is when women start coaching with me, they be like, "Oh, I see what you did." I say, "Yeah, the man talk had to get you in." But really, I'm teaching you how to be a better person, a better human being, because that is the only reason I'm able to honestly, with my 6'3", 280.
Okay.
Laying next to me every night, honey. Okay? That is the right man. That's the only reason he can be there. And what I can tell you is, and this is totally transparent, and Jason, I hope I ain't talking too much, okay? That's my fiance. It's not perfect.
No.
It's not perfect.
There's no such thing as perfect.
Yeah, our relationship is not perfect.
No such thing.
But because I've been through enough, and I realize when we do have situations, I don't look at him. I look at myself. And then when we have situations, he looks at himself. So if we're not pointing the finger out, it's always back at ourselves, the relationship improves as a result of that.
And you got to make a conscious effort to say, I'm going to make this work.
Yeah. With the right person.
With the right person.
Yeah,
with the right person.
With the wrong person, child.
It could be
There's some men out there that just need to be for the streets.
For the streets.
Okay,
we're going to leave them where they are. And there's some women out there
that need to be for the streets. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to be honest and fair.
Period.
So what's next for you, Stacii?
Oh, gosh. What's immediately next?
Well, by the time this podcast airs, I know you would have been back from your retreat.
Yes, back from the retreat in Peru. What's next for me? Well, gosh, getting married August 10th, 2025 in Lake Como, Italy. Okay. Yes. And I have some development things that I'm working on with my network. Well, not my network, own. It's own.
Well, hey, it's your network too.
It's my I have some development things that, God has blessed me with some ideas, some what I call my next career is really creating dating programming for television that speaks to not just the entertainment version of train wrecks on TV in the dating space, but really is for the audience, allows them an opportunity to grow. You know what I'm saying? And that is important because for me, we can all get a man and we can all get a woman. My mama got 5, my grandmother got 3, I got aunties that got 5, right? But really, what are you learning and how are you understanding?
Let me stop you right there, though, Stacii.
Yeah.
Your mama could get 5. Your auntie could get 3.
Yeah.
But I know quite a few women out here, Stacii, they ain't had a man in about 20 years. And they ain't even been on a date. No one's even stopped and asked them,
That's true.
Do you need some water? So I'm going to tell you that. And that's especially in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I think we assume that everybody can, and I would like to close out too with, what do you think that men are looking for in a woman? Like, why do you think there's women out here who have not been on a date in 20 years, and then there's some that can date multiple people at one time than just date girl? What is the difference?
I believe there's some women out here who are listening. I think men want to be heard. I think they want to be heard. Like, I think we too, like I have clients that they'll say, well, he didn't allow me to talk. Well, you. Why are you trying to talk so much? Lean into, if he tells you, I enjoy playing golf. Really? So tell me, what makes you enjoy golf?
But what if you don't care?
But how do you connect? But why not?
So
why not care?
Can we keep asking questions until I find something I care about?
No, this is the thing. But why not care? It's a part of connection. I bet if you were talking about you love golf,
I know.
I bet, honey, girl, you gonna talk about you loving golf and why you love golf and how you was a kid and this whatever. You want him to care, right?
True.
But so he wants you to listen and care. Okay. You know what and even if you don't care, shut up. Just shut up, because connection is important. So I would say to the women who have not dated, I would say, let's look at your last, I don't care if it was 10 years ago, were you listening? And were you leaning into conversation, or were you waiting for the part to where you can add what you do? A man says, I've done, I did X, Y, and Z. A woman, oh yeah, I did that too. And my girlfriends and I, we went to so-and-so, and we did this. Have you ever been there? Have you ever traveled to? Girl, where can a man jump in? Where can he, and you see what I'm saying?
And
Shut up.
And in that case, too, I think you also make a man.
Ladies, and hold on, let me say this, because I know, child, the internet. My spirit said, clear make sure you be clear. I'm not saying that you should not have a voice. I'm definitely not saying that. What I'm saying is, when a man is talking, try to find interest in what he is sharing that does not put the finger or the information or what you're communicating back on you. You see what I'm saying? It is not, he says, I've been to China. You go, oh, wow, I've been to China too. Why is that the next sentence?
Right.
Really? What did you enjoy about China? Wow, tell me more about that. Not, oh, wow, my girlfriends and I, we went there, let's see. It's about 3 years ago. Did you go to so-and-so, so-and-so? It's you now.
It's competitive too.
Yeah. That is very competitive.
And I think a lot of times men will also take that and say, well, what can I add to her life? I can't take her here. I saw this thing on Instagram, and we'll close out on that. This guy, he was getting into a G-Wagon. And so he was with his date. And they were walking to the G-Wagon, and she let him in. He let her in, and he got over and then she started fiddling with the buttons to turn on the massager in the seats. And he was like, so you're familiar with, because she knew exactly how to turn it on. That was a turn off for him, he said, because it showed him that these things she'd already experienced, probably with someone else, and it was nothing. And he thought it was a big deal because he was taking her to his car, and that she would be like, wow. And she was like, got in there and turned on the massage. He was like, how does she know about this? Because
when she could have just got in the car and just sat down.
So sometimes we just need to know how to be what you call a passenger princess.
I say surrender, allow, be. Just allow him to be in the strength of what he is. Don't even, what was that for? Like her just getting in it. No.
And he said that was a turnoff, and he did not call her back simply because of that.
I have a client, male client, doctor client, who lives, I won't say where, just in case somebody, whatever, lives in a very metropolitan city, very successful male doctor, black guy, single, right? I'm his coach. He's ready to get married, honey. Great catch, too. Ooh, I'm just saying, he's a good one, y'all. He's a good one, and y'all saying no good ones out there. Anyway, a young lady, I helped him get his dating profile together and everything. So, because, he's in the box, whatever. I'm like, gotta be a little, a little something. We gotta add a little something to this profile. So since, honey, he has been getting, like, all the ladies, right? But he's looking for someone very special. He took this black woman out. Now, he prefers a black woman. But I'm saying, hey, you gotta stay open, honestly. Like, stay open. Because I want him to get some experience with dating, right? Took a black woman out. I'm gonna just say he's in New York, whatever. Let me just, because I have to. So he suggests a restaurant, right? Now, the first time she said, oh, I don't want to go there. What about this? And she said it very kind. She was like, oh, this place. And she sent him little thing, little. And he was like, okay, all right. I coached him. I said, you know what, maybe let's just go 3 dates in. She's still suggesting, he said he got up one morning at 6 a.m. because he wanted to have a perfect place for her for lunch, right? This was something that wasn't planned. And he sent her the information, right? She says, okay, I'll go. He is on his way to the place. She says, oh, wow, you know what? I think I want to go to this place instead. Sends him another place. Yes. And says, and advocates for it. I mean, one, it's this. And she thought that was okay. Nothing in her told her. Now, this is third date in, right? Because he loves the conversation. She won't get a fourth date. You know why? He said, she won't allow me to lead. She just will not allow me to lead. And no matter what the conversation, and I said to myself, this black woman is at home, has no idea
why she's not getting a call back.
Girl, she is clueless because in her mind, she was just providing better suggestions, better places that were X, Y, and Z, what she wanted to do. She has no idea. How many
women out there looking for somebody to tell them, let's go here and go there to get something to eat?
Girl.
Well, I'll tell you. Well, I'm telling you, today was amazing, Stacii.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming out and
spending
some time with us here in Coinology.
Absolutely.
And I'm so excited about the big day and everything
you.
that's to come. I know all of the projects are going to continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Absolutely.
So one thing about you You never cease to amaze me. You constantly continue to level up. And you've done it in the most humblest way. You stayed true. You stayed humble. And no one deserves this amount of happiness more than you. So I'm so very happy for you. Very, very happy.
Thank you.
And I want to say thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Coinology. Welcome to Coinology, the podcast.
You ain't getting no money if you constantly worried about what everybody else got to say. If you constantly got your eyes on what everybody else doing, you ain't getting no money. When it comes down to closing the deal, I get it done. Every single one.
Welcome to Coinology, the podcast.